theme of the week is layout elements. I know that sometimes being a new user and checking out how Document Builder works can be have a bit of a learning curve. So today we'll have a look at how we can use layout elements. So we'll start with a blank template. Let me go to my templates right here. I have a new one. And so the layout, by what I mean by layout elements are all the elements that I have here. So you see that we have now 6. And let's start with a row. The row, it's a holder, a content holder that will hold content horizontally, and you can duplicate it, and you can have many rows with horizontal content. So this is your parent element. So everything you add to the builder will be inside a row, and a row can hold many other elements. So the second element that's very important is the column. So what the column element will do is that it will hold content vertically and will hold all the content elements. You can duplicate it, and you can have it with different outcomes with different layouts. So let's have a look here. Here I have a 3-column, but you can also use a pre-spaced option. So you have here pre-spaced with 2 columns, but with a different ratio, 6 to 6, 34, and also 3 columns, 4 columns. And how can we work with each element? So let me delete them for now. And how can we adjust them? So with a row, for instance, you can set up a different height. So say an interesting use case here is that users usually ask me how can I set up different page background. So you can add a row. You can set up a row size to a page size. I believe it's 1167 pixels. And this will have the row will have the page size. Let me add a background color so you can take a look at the difference. Okay, let's preview it. Will probably look a lot bigger, but that's essentially it. You can set up a static height for the column, for the row, apologies. And let's delete it for now. And the column. So how the column works, you can just drag in a column right away to the element, but it will still be inside a row. I'll keep using here the contents panel because this can be very helpful for us to see the nested elements whenever we add an element, see how it works and how they are organized. So here, if I drag a column right into the template, a row will automatically come in. Same for a content element, but it's not today's focus. So I have here a text that's inside a column and inside of a row. Let me delete it for now. And how the column works, how can you adjust it? Let me duplicate a column here. You see that it's essentially tweaked with the width. So here duplicated, and they automatically now have 50%. So it will always add up to 100%. So no matter how many columns I have here, they will always add up to 100%. So that's how you can play around with the columns. And yes, I mentioned the pre-spaced. And now let's do some nesting. So this is interesting for some use cases. One of them is the one I have already shared. So if you have, let me zero the page margin so we can have a row that's exactly the size of the page. So we don't have any margins now. I'll have here a row, and this will take up my page. Let me have here 50. Let me add a background color. So this is a regular case of nesting. So if I had here a column, as I said, I can nest other rows in it, but my main row, this will keep holding my content together. So this is my nest row, this is the last level, and this is the row holding everything together. So I can duplicate it. I can have many content elements set up there. I can have a text, an image. Let's have here document image, barcode, and This is basically how the nesting will work. So I have here my page with a one background color. And another interesting use case is for grouping. So for grouping, we always need to set up nested elements. So here I have a template. It's a bit more complex, but I'll try to go through the grouping part. So here I have one row. This is my grouped row. And inside my grouped row, we usually have to set up the items that we want to be repeated. So here I have another row inside my grouped row. So then I have my columns. So that's essentially how the nested items work. Another interesting use case is also sometimes our users want to create some spacing. So they want to, for example, add a card to the middle of the template. So I can add a pre-spaced 3-column, and I can do some nesting in the middle column. The other columns will work for me as just as a spacer. And I can add a row. I can duplicate it. I can add more columns to it. So here, let's say I want 2 columns. And in this one, I want a text that will say, welcome to Document. And in this one, I want to add Document's logo. So I will add an image element, add my logo. I can edit a few things. I can click on the column and I'll access the properties of the column. I can change many things here. I can change the font of the text I'm holding with this column. I can change the alignment. So I want to align this image in the middle. I can do that. I want to align the image here. I can add some spacing. So I can make the image be in the center of my column. I can do the same here. So I can put my text aligning vertically to the center. And then I can add something else here inside this row. So say, today we are learning about layout elements and many exciting things they can create. Okay. And now we can also adjust spacing. So let's see, I want this to be a bit bigger. So then I can preview it, see how it would work in a real life document. So this is one idea. And the properties, they are basically the same for all the elements we have. So you can set up, for instance, I want to set up a border to this card that I added right here. You can access the elements from here, from this toolbar, or you can just go directly here and select the element you want to edit. So the properties will be similar. Say I want to add some rounded corners. I want to change the color of the border I can add here. And then I will preview it. There you have it. Let me add the margins again so I can have a better look. So save it. And here we have our card. I know it doesn't look the best, but as I said, we can edit it in many different ways. So let me access this column right here that's holding everything. We can add some spacing also to this column. And this is how we can work with nested elements. You can add, you can tweak, you can do many different things to make it look as best as you can, as nicely as you need. So you can add some style, add some rounded corners here, preview it. And lastly, also to help you make things organized, you can rename the elements through the contents panel. So here I want to know that this is my card. So I know now that this is a column that has all the designs that I applied to build my card. And you can also access here. Here's is the header of my card. Here I have the row with the text of my card, and I can move things around also with the contents panel. So we have a handle here. So say I want the text first. So I can do that. I can move it back. And if you want to hide it for some reason, you can also use this right here. And that's essentially it. The sky's the limit. You can add as many styling as you need. You can make it look nice. You can make it look just as you need. And thank you very much.